All right, the Reds, it's Talking Reds. Gareth Roberts, Lizzi Doyle today, talking about the Reds. And look, bit poo, wasn't it? We've gone out of the Champions League. A weird one to sort of know how to feel about it as well. We were struggling with this a bit on the post-match point last night as well, in that, you know, it was odd because you come away going, played really well there. You know, absolutely battered them. And I mean, I'm not Michael Owen's biggest fan, it's fair to say. But I did see a tweet from him earlier where he said, I'm not having it that it's a Simeone masterclass. He said they got absolutely pumped throughout the game. And, you know, it's essentially quite lucky that they've ended up getting through. And I'm sort of with that. I understand that it was an individual error from the goalie and things like that. But, you know, Oblak has an absolute worldie of a game. Makes
because he's the next best keeper in the world.
Has 11, I think it's 11 saves he makes on the night. Liverpool have 34 shots. And okay, I get it if you're just a negative head and you can just go, well, should have took the chances then or whatever. But look, I just think this group of players, this manager, for the best part of 3 years now, has provided us with an awful lot of joy. And the day was always going to come where we lost one or two. So yeah. I'm sticking with it. We're going to win the league whenever we can play these games. But we'll come on to that. But yeah, how did you feel about last night?
I was gutted. I was absolutely gutted. Felt really weird, like I can't describe it, like I'm not used to losing. And that's what, like, that's why I'm trying to keep a level head about Watford, about the Chelsea game, and now Atletico. Now it sounds like a lot when you start doing that, you know, knocked out 2 competitions, but the reason I'm trying to keep a level head is because of the way I'm feeling after losing, because it's an alien feeling. Now I think we should be really like treasuring that feeling as Liverpool fans, that we're not used to this and we don't get this a lot, we don't get this often. Yet it's happened twice in a very short amount of time, but it hasn't happened for years in the way that it has. And we're so lucky to have a team that we feel like is never going to lose. That if they do lose, we're disappointed and we're gutted, because guess what, football's football, you're going to lose a football match, you're going to get knocked out of a competition sometimes. The odds are against you, probability is just one of them. But the fact that we're not used to it and we still don't expect to go out and we don't expect to lose. You know, there's probably no other team out there in the world at the moment where fans feel the way that we do, which is walking into a ground going, we'll win this, we'll be fine, and we'll go through, it'll be fine. Okay, it didn't happen on the night, things happened, and yet there are mistakes, and there are a couple of other things that aren't down to Adrian as well as to think as to why we lost. But this team, they're still the best team I've seen play for Liverpool, and a couple of games doesn't change that. And I think you look at Man City this season, I don't want to compare Liverpool to them, but like we've been trying to match Man City every season and playing at such a high rate, and we've seen how City, for this is their 3rd season trying to play at that rate, have dropped off. You know, it's no wonder that Liverpool can't play at 1,000,000% all the time, but I tell you what, they're close. They're close to it. They nearly done it last night.
I mean, just if you want to cheer yourself up, you just look at the league table, don't you, and remind yourself that they've beat everyone in the Premier League across the course of the season so far. They are absolutely miles clear of everybody else.
One loss and one draw all season.
Yeah, it's incredible what they've done. And look, you know, it is disappointing that we don't get to go and defend the trophy and you know, the dream of Istanbul and all that kind of stuff. But I think it was a little bit weird as well. I mean, just in general with what's going on in the world, the way, I don't know, the vibe in the ground was different, was weird.
I'm glad you've said that, you know, because I come in today and I said, like, because I didn't see any of you last night, I'm on the COP for the European Games, and something was weird, and I said, like, there was like an anxiety in the air, but it wasn't a nervous Champions League anxiety of I'm worried we're not going to go through. It was a whole different kettle of fish. Like the conversations around me, I just kept hearing like coronavirus. I heard people saying this will be the last time you see Liverpool play. I heard the fella next to me was saying, kept saying to me, like, anytime there was a break, so did you think that's it then? I'm done with football if this happens this season. And it felt like there was a big overhang over the game.
I think what's going on just makes you think, doesn't it? Yeah. You know, it's bound to make you think. You know, it's absolutely everywhere, all over the media. It's worrying. You know, everyone's got someone probably that, you know, they're thinking about, you know, so you might be giving it the big scoush. I'm better asked, I'll batter the coronavirus myself, lads. But then at the same time, you're like, you know, well, you might have an elderly relative or someone who has got underlying health issues, all of those things. So you got a lot swirling around your mind. And to me, it started well in all respects, and I thought, you know, there was that sort of, you know, we were booing them, and sort of, you know, there was that edge to the atmosphere, and like You'll Never Walk Alone had a bit more about it than a usual one, and all that kind of stuff. And then, I mean, like I thought there was some brilliant performers there.
There was. Oxlade-Chamberlain was brilliant.
Oxlade-Chamberlain was brilliant. Mo Salah was brilliant. Genie was brilliant. You know, loads of heart about the way he played, which is funny because there's still that thing. I always think back to, you know, when we signed him, and people were saying, Newcastle fans are like, he doesn't, you know, you don't want him in the trenches. You know, he hasn't got that. He's like the Tin Man off the Wizard of Oz. He's got no heart. You know what I mean? Like he's good, but he'll drop out. Like last night, he was on it. He scores his goal, and I absolutely loved his performance. Like, yeah, it's such a shame. You know, it's such a shame that we've gone out, but we have got to refocus. I heard a couple of the players' interviews on the radio before, and they were like, you know, we don't like this feeling, as you just said there, and we have now got to get the league done. When we're getting the league done is entirely another matter. Should we talk about that in a minute?
Yeah.
Are we putting a clip in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a clip from, is it from the post-match pint?
It's from the post-match pint.
Here's a clip from the post-match pint. The Reds and that were out, mate, but I mean, what do you want to do first, the context or the crapness?
I don't know. What an option that is. I think this is the first time I've been doing the Anfield Wrap for God knows how long now. I think this is the first time I've ever done a post-match show or a pink where we've got beat.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone to one.
What a record.
How do we do this? We just don't know.
How do we do this? Because we're brilliant. Like, that's the thing, isn't it? This is the first time I've done it, and the reason why this is the first time I've done it is because we're brilliant. And because we always win in Europe. We've always won 2-leg ties under Jurgen.
We've won 10 under Jurgen before this one, by the way. Context.
You know, the record has been phenomenal. Even when we were in the Europa League, it was astonishing.
Yeah.
Obviously, the year we got to Kiev, got to Madrid and won it. And cup football, eventually you're going to lose a cup tie. You are going to lose a cup tie. And, you know, if a standing goalkeeper has a bit of a nightmare, like he did, if you're playing one of the finest defensive teams of all time, who come, you know, a club that basically, they're set up for this scenario, aren't they? They've come, they've clung on, they've hung on, they've showed great resilience, and you know, they weathered the storm. We've missed a lot of chances, and then they've taken their moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we weren't great, because we were great. We played really, really well.
We did play really well.
And the goalkeeper, unfortunately, has, you know, made an error that's just killed us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't detract from everything else, and you know, in a way, you sort of think, well, this is going to happen eventually. So.
And it's happened.
And it's happened.
And it's happened, but we are still going to win the league. Okay, so that was a clip from the post-match pint. I mean, yeah, there was just a general weirdness, wasn't there, about last night? I mean, I think I described it at one point as being like a sci-fi film, because it was like, you had this fella who's like a pantomime baddie leading this side who all week people have been going on about the master of the dark arts, and it's like, I think it sounds like some like a new episode of Star Wars. And then, you know, we're all like that about their fans, because, you know, Madrid's suffered a lot with the coronavirus, and it didn't make a lot of sense, if we're all being honest, about that you let people travel from a city that's being hit with it to a city that isn't, and just go, be sound, that, be all right, that. Look, I know loads of people just want to get the football done, but like there really is, like, you know, there's a life beyond football here, isn't there? And I think, you know, like, we've got a story in front of us here that, you know, there is now serious chat about games being played behind closed doors, potentially games being postponed, all Premier League season ticket holders being able to stream coverage of matches at home. No games being showed in pubs.
The 3 o'clock slot is saying that there's not going to be any games shown at the 3 o'clock slot, because obviously that means it's not on telly. It's saying that broadcasters are going to have the rights to show more than one match at dinner time and tea time. And I
mean, it says here that the plan may be implemented when cases in the UK pass 500, and last night it was 460. So. Yeah, I mean, it does feel like it's inevitable now, doesn't it? You know, there's loads of rumours flying around that, you know, this weekend's schedule could go, that the derby might not happen, and things like that. We know as much as you do, really. You know, we're just fans talking about it, and by no means experts on the subject. But from purely the football fan perspective, you know, like, this sort of disappointment that's hanging over Liverpool right now, like this is 100% part of it, isn't it? Because it's a bit like, you know, we're all having that conversation when we're not having the really serious coronavirus chat, but we're having another chat where you're going, I can't believe that it's been 30 years that we've waited to win this league, and the season that we do it,
I can't.
This happens.
It's the most Liverpool thing ever. It's unreal. It's absolutely unbelievable. And you know what? For our listeners who listen to our audio as well, you'll have heard Ben Jono speak about this for weeks, even months. I've laughed and gone, piss off, the coronavirus isn't going to stop Liverpool winning the league. What are you on about? And here we are the day after Atletico. And it's the only thought consuming my mind at the minute. And I've been quite like naive. I've been like the one of stop talking about it, it's doing me head and it's not going to happen. It's happening. And I honestly, like my feeling today of how gutted I am is not just being out of the Champions League, it's the idea of, I can't help but feel like a bit of that's it. And I don't mean to be dramatic, but I walked out that ground yesterday and I felt sad, and I was like, this is not how it's meant to be. Like, I didn't walk out there of defiance, like, you know, oh, we're going to win the league, so it's fine that we've got knocked out the Champions League, because I don't know the next time I'm going to see this football team play in person. I don't know if I'm going to see them lift the trophy. God forbid, the parade I have been speaking about for so long. I mean, for all the people that were in Madrid that I have been banging on and on about, because I was one of the lucky people on a day trip who got to see the European Cup in the flesh twice, and I got to see the parade and be a part of that, and it's a moment I'll never forget. And I've been banging on to all those people, don't you worry, because it's going to be even bigger. It's going to be over 1 million people lining the streets. I could see the pictures in my head, I could see the live buildings, setting off the flares, the streets just even more packed if that's possible. And I don't think that's going to happen now. And I feel like this, without going too deep, I spoke about it this morning on Radio City Talk. This goes back a lot to me about the football without fans is nothing. You know, when people have banged on about it with ticket prices and people don't listen, well, I tell you what, if you watched PSG last night, or if you watched, I watched Valencia Atalanta, and it was eerie. And the scoreline was boss, and there was a fairy tale of Atalanta getting through to the stages that they've never done before. But it didn't mean anything, and you're watching it, it's soulless, there's nobody there. Like, and it goes to show you that, like, it's just not, it doesn't feel worth anything without anybody there. You know, I hate Goodison, I hate playing at Goodison, I hate the atmosphere that they create on a derby. It's feral, and they would have been bang up for it. They still could be, for all we know. I don't know what's going to happen. But even as much as I hate playing at Goodison and I hate and the advantage that they have, I would never want that to be played behind closed doors, because what's the point? Does it even become a derby, or is it a training ground game?
I think as well, it's worth remembering among all this that, you know, like, everyone's a human, so you know what I mean? Like, the footy players will be concerned, the managers will be concerned.
I know, I don't mean to, like, be selfish.
But what I mean is, so, you know, like, and then also as well, like, because of sort of almost, it's not unprecedented, there's been pandemics before, but not in recent history. And I think because the football schedule's been pushed to the absolute limit, then that's why this is such a problem now, because it's like you can't afford to miss 2 game weeks or whatever, because then you've got the Euros, and then you've got this, and then, you know, and the knock-on effects are, like, you saw Klopp, didn't you, like, berating those people for trying to shake his hand last night. It was like, well, you know what, there's a concerned man, do you know what I mean? And it's, I don't know, it's hard. I mean, look,
it is really hard.
Even in here, in our offices, you know, we're like, should we be coming in here? Probably not. You know, where do you draw the line, basically? And I think that's what the government's trying to work out, that's what sporting bodies are trying to work out, and that's what individuals are trying to work out. Where do you draw the line? What do you do? Do I never go and see my nan just in case?
Yeah, it's
you know,
my granddad's
all of those things. And, you know, everyone's got these things swirling around their head. So we are going to try our best from the Anfield Wrap point of view anyway to crack on. We are going to try and do as much content as we can around all of this, around the football, and anything that we can do. We've got stuff in the can as well that we'd like to show to you in terms of videos and podcasts and stuff like that. So if there is no football, we'll do our best to still get stuff out there to take your mind off, because I think that's a thing that always comes across from people who like what we do. They say, you know, it takes your mind off. It's a thing I enjoy watching. It's a little escape, if you like. So we're going to do our best. We're going to do our best.
With whatever means we can, we will.
But we do think, well, in all likelihood, I mean, there's going to be a proper announcement around it when we've worked out the details. But for instance, we're not coming to America, we're not coming to Canada, that's going to be off, postponed. We still want to come, we still will come, it's just not going to be in the next 2 weeks because obvious reasons. You've seen the news, you've seen what Trump said, you've seen what the situation is around the airport, so yeah, don't know what else to say really. It's been talking, lads. If you want some gear, go to luke1977.com. These boys, I mean, you're just sitting around now, aren't you, self-containing? You might want some clothes. Up the beds.